U.S. Senate committee to vote Wednesday on bill to try to stop sharks from eating fish.
Okay.
Forrest
care.
is
He's
leaving.
leaving. He has stood up and he's walked
It's-
out in his very short shorts.
They are so short.
I know it's stupid because I found it on the subreddit called Not the Onion, which are stories that sound like onion
They should be
headlines,
onion.
but they are not. Unfortunately.
Washington, D.C., the U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and blah, blah, blah aims to stop wild sharks from biting fish on fishing lines. Okay, so
So it's a little different. They're not just making a rule that says stop eating fish.
yeah, they're fishist. Okay, I don't hate what they're going for here if I'm reading between the lines, and I've read 2 lines. So let's see. This task force fails to include representation from indigenous. Nobody cares about that. The bill falls short by not explicitly forbidding the task force. This is nonsense. What is going on here?
So people are upset that, like you said, it doesn't include representation from indigenous, tribal, and native people, which sharks are sacred to some.
Who cares? This
but-
is not a social issue. This is about sharks getting foul hooked.
Hold on. And then secondly, that this bill, it falls short by not explicitly forbidding the task force from proposing shark culls or population reductions as a solution, leaving
Also stupid.
leaving the door open to killing sharks. So I don't think this is about, they're not doing this to save the sharks. They're doing this to stop the fishermen from losing money and their
But we
and their
still
fish.
haven't got to the root cause of what this is. Now it's talking about earth justice, then it's talking about native Hawaiians. What is the thing we're trying to do
what are they
here?
going to do? Are they going to cull sharks in popular fishing areas?
I mean, so that's what the task force is being set up to figure out. So people,
I can't believe federal taxpayer money is going to this. That's despicable.
It's despicable.
So while it can be frustrating to have a shark bite your catch while fishing, you know that's what they're trying to do. They're forming a task force because people are upset about the sharks biting their catch on the line.
Okay, should I just rat czar this and solve it in about a minute instead of this be
Yes.
headlines and talk about indigenous this and
Absolutely.
culling that and all these things that have nothing to do with not that much of a complex issue?
Sure.
Contrary to what Graham said.
Graham.
Well, it says right
Graham.
here, depredation is a complex issue, one that reflects the health of our ocean.
Graham. It's pronounced Graham.
Graham was wrong.
Graham.
It's not that complex. I mean, look, I'm oversimplifying here, but it's not that complex. There are several products that you can buy today that will help deter. They're not bulletproof, but they will help deter sharks from biting fish.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a Shark Bands product, which means it puts out a magnet. Sharks don't like magnets.
Oh,
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
So you
Because-
put that on your tackle?
yeah, you put it in like what's called an inline system. So it's
Got
like
it.
on your leader or it's above your sinker or whatever, inline, straight as
Okay.
part of it. And then fish aren't affected by it because fish are not affected by magnetism the same way sharks are. Fish comes along, eats it. Shark goes, ooh, look, a wriggling fish. Goes in, goes, oh, no, I don't like that. Leaves it alone. That's
Okay.
one way. Another way, paint your lures black and white to represent a sea snake. I'm not saying any one of these things actually is a blanket solution, but you do them in combination based on where you live and what your targets are and the sharks are, and you can greatly reduce the number of sharks that are biting the fish.
Well, and you don't have to then kill a bunch of sharks to solve
no
the problem.
culling. That's why I was saying this is ridiculous because it's not a social issue. It's not a culling issue. Nobody wants to kill. Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. Just do a couple things where you still catch fish and the sharks don't
It's-
eat the fish.
it's-
Can I go on though? Can I do the other ones?
Yeah.
So you can do black and white aposematism, which is where a good word for the game, if we ever play that again, where you mimic a venomous snake or something that sharks hate, and they'll leave it alone. Fish won't bother with it. Fish won't be affected by it. You can do the magnet thing. You can do sound things. You could do flashing lights. There's like all these various deterrents that individually are not great, but you add them up based on the environment and the species that you're having issues with, and
Yeah.
they'll work.
It's just interesting. So maybe I think that we should have you on as the head of the shark.
Yeah,
task
just
force.
like the rats are, where you want to unleash cats in
Yeah.
New York City. Like 3 years ago, there was a Shark Week. I only know this because my buddy worked on it. He was kind of embarrassed by it, but where they did a test. I think JB Smoove was on it.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And they were testing to see if sharks liked country music or rap music
Oh
better.
yeah.
What did they determine?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
Which
watch it.
kind of music
but-
did the sharks
but,
enjoy?
I have no idea, but I know that they had not Kenny Chesney. What's his name?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
country musician.
Tim McGraw. No, not Tim McGraw.
Not Tim McGraw. He's the guy who did "I Want to Check You for Ticks." Like that guy.
Is that a song?
I don't
You don't know
what
that song?
I've never
Of
heard
course
that
not.
Oh
one.
man, it's great.
Uh,
Yeah, I just know that he was playing music to sharks.
Does it say there what
Google
the outcome
AI
was?
says they prefer jazz.
Wow.
So do plants, by the way. Plants that
Really?
hear jazz music grow better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder
True
why
story.
that is. Maybe just the
It says here that it's associated with a food response, the jazz music. So
how could that be?
Yeah, it means nothing.
Nah, it's nonsense. AI just makes stuff up that you want to hear. What were you talking about?
The-
Oh
the
yeah,
task
I don't know.
force.
That was just it's just like, come on.
It
with
does sound
that.
kind of silly that they're wasting money on. Like, who proposed
Right.
this law?
Well, no, I get it. If you're a fisherman, if you live in South Florida, 1 out of 3 fish you hook gets sharked, gets taxed, right? A shark comes in and smashes it. I get it. If you're long lining, which is a method of fishing, half the long lines end up getting fish smashed. You know, there are solutions. You don't need a task force. Nobody should be complaining and saying we need culling. Nobody should be pretending it's a social issue and talking about what communities are underrepresented. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that.
Right.
It's to do with sharks accidentally getting caught. That's it. That's all it's to do with.
Mhm.
And this is just such a standard to me, like over the top. 9 people are weighing in. Somebody's upset because some group is underrepresented. Who cares? Just focus on the sharks, the thing that you actually are talking about. Like,
Right.
how can someone get offended about this?
Well, people get offended by
But
anything.
it's crazy to me. I mean, it's like, just come on with enough already.